मैं उससे इत्तेफाक नहीं रखती, परंतु शवों की दुर्दशा होती है ये मैंने खुद जाना है कि किसी महिला की मृत्यु के बाद में, जो कि असहाय है, बेसहारा है, जिसका रहने खाने का ठिकाना नहीं है, जिसको बीमारी में इलाज की सुविधा नहीं है, जो जीवित रूप से सम्मानित नहीं हो पाई, मरने के बाद उसके शव को कैसे सम्मानित करेंगे, ये मेरी समझ में नहीं आया।
But this one issue had become a controversial point in the town. Prominent residents accused journalists of giving Vrindavan a bad name by sensationalizing the plight of the widows. He asked the director of the well-reputed Braj Foundation and a deeply respected journalist in its other avatar, Vineet Narayan, why he wrote an article saying the pride of the people of Braj was hurt by this.
So you know this is a country where Asmita politics is something that instantly mobilizes all kinds of opinions for no constructive reason. Why would a journalist of their stature use words like this?
The other side also is doing the same. What happened? I was in a TV show. I was being interviewed by Iradu Television. And I had no idea what is happening in Vrindavan on this issue. And suddenly the anchor person who was interviewing me on the issue asked me, that Mr. Narayan, you live in Vrindavan and women, widows are being chopped up and thrown in Yamuna. I said, what rubbish? This cannot happen. And then when I came back next week, I inquired and I saw this newspaper. It's absolute rubbish.
The state of Vrindavan's widows cannot be something Hindus become defensive about that.
No, I would suggest it. First of all, I wrote this in 1998 article also. I wrote a similar issue. First of all, West Bengal government, now it's changed, they should open a shelter home for widows because, as you agreed, that 90% of them come from Bengal. They should have a very nice, comfortable widow home here in Vrindavan because it's their people who are coming. Number two, instead of making it a noise through media, what you should do, go to the Dharmacharya, go to Bhagavatacharya.
आप theirs और ours कहाँ कर रहे हैं इस देश में? That it's their widows who are coming to our land. I mean, this is problematic language. Indira Gai was from Mewar. She is as much part of Braj as anybody else.
Because this issue was raised by the CPM leaders. That is why. You see, you should not be hypocrite. This issue in 1998 was raised by CPM leaders. That is why I had to say this. Why would I say that women coming from Bengal are not our people?
But you have no problem with the Supreme Court asking for a comprehensive survey.
But just now, my mother, who's fragile, 78, said if she had the energy, she's a social actress, she would have done it. And immediately, what did I say? I didn't know that you want to argue on this point. That, Mom, if you gave me this idea, I would have engaged you volunteer in this survey.
Meanwhile, we have a committee. Let them do their survey. Let's have people like you support it.
But don't create a negative image in the country by saying that widows are chopped up and thrown in Yamuna.
Dr. Lakshmi says the controversy will not deter her from her work with the widows.
हर स्थिति में उनका साथ देने के लिए तैयार हूँ। इससे जुड़ा हुआ छोटा सा मेरा निजी मामला है, छोटा क्या, बहुत मेरी भावनाओं से जुड़ा हुआ तो बहुत बड़ा मामला है, क्योंकि मेरा अपना मामला है। मेरी बेटी की शादी मैंने 2008 में जयपुर में एक संभ्रांत परिवार में की थी, पढ़े लिखे लोगों में की थी। और 7वें महीने में जब मेरी बेटी प्रेग्नेंट थी, 7वें महीने में उसका अल्ट्रासाउंड कराया गया। अल्ट्रासाउंड के द्वारा जब उनको मालूम पड़ा कि उसके गर्भ में लड़की है, कन्या है, तो हम लोगों ने उसे जबरदस्ती घर से निकाल के बस में बैठा दिया और वो बेटी तब से मेरे पास है। अब 10वें महीने में उसको बेटी हुई। तो स्त्रियों का तो पैदा होने से पहले उनका प्रताड़ना का दौर चालू हो जाता है और मरते दम तक वो चलता है, जैसा कि वृंदावन में देखा जाता है तो वो महिला
Open drainage, land that belonged to Vaishnav sect with immense influence in Assam, Tripura, Nepal. The rich devotee had his land filled and built small huts for the widows, many who have come from remote villages in Nepal.
पति मर गए, बेटा एक बेटा थे वो भी मर गए। हम यहाँ वृंदावन में भजन करने के लिए आए।
Their lives are frugal, devoted to religion. Some talk of not getting their pensions, but many others say that Radhe Rani, the consort of Krishna, leads them out of all trouble. Famous religious scholars like Srivas Goswami point out that it's the divinity of the feminine that becomes a big source of strength for the widows.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who in the 16th century saw that it is not the death of the husband, but it is the
abiding faith which coexists with a difficult life gives rise to many tricky questions. For one, the basic fact that for thousands of these women, this life of bhakti is as much refuge as it is devotion. This is not the story of Meera, who leaves her palace and her married life to seek Krishna. Though widows speak of voluntarily coming to Vrindavan, they also break down and cry when they remember their past, a constant reminder of how forced their migration has been. Also the obvious paradox that a region which has a powerful symbol of feminine divinity, Radha, Durga, Kali, was not able to tackle its treatment of widows, all of them from upper castes, and many, like Maya Devi, now in her 90s, from wealthy, literate zamindari families.
আমার কাকা ছিলেন, হেমন্ত সরকার নাম ছিলেন, উনি বিলাস ফেরতা ছিলেন, কবি রবীন্দ্রনাথের চাকরি করতেন, সেই কারণে আজ আমার দুঃখ কষ্ট।
At Meera Sahibhagni, another government-run shelter for widows, we are given a very sanitized tour of the place by the district officer in charge. Here we speak to the women of their own notions of widowhood.
क्या करूँगी, 10 साल में शादी हुई, ऊपर माँ पर दूसरा घर में दे दिया।
रियल केसेस थे।
आदमी की अगर पत्नी मर जाती है, वो तो दूसरी शादी कर लेती
है।
औरतों का अगर स्वामी खत्म हो जाए, तो उसका तो सारा संसार खत्म कर देते हैं।
मेरा शरीर के दूसरा को कैसे बेचूं? एक ही तो होती है आदमी।
दिस इज इंडियन कल्चर।
आदमी तो एक ही होती है, जो पापा मामी को देते हैं।
प्योरिटी, आप देखिए प्योरिटी, जहाँ प्योरिटी की बात।
पापा मामी जिसको दिया,
प्योरिटी,
उसको तो मेरा शरीर उसको दे दिया, तब फिर मैं दूसरों को कैसे दूं?
अरे भैया बोलो, आई एम प्राउड ऑफ यू।
Mohini Giri, a pioneer of widow reforms in India, strikes a practical note. Faith, she says, is critical to the women. But no argument of faith, she says, can detract from the fight to improve their living conditions. She runs Madham in Vrindavan with a holistic philosophy that's heartening to see. Social change in Bengal has finally meant that fewer widows now come to Vrindavan, and those who do are mostly aged. For them, living in the open is treacherous and a shelter meaningless if it is not equipped to be an old age home.
Basic need is there for all women to have a place which they can call home. You know, every woman wants a home. This is your basic need. And if they don't have the feeling, if they are just beggars and they come there to sleep in the night, what kind of a home is that? So I have tried to call my Madham as my Madham for everybody. I have tried to tell them that we are one family.
But these are rare attempts. For thousands of other widows in Vrindavan, their lives seem frozen in time. The images that we bring of them today, sadly, very similar to